Now it comes into this last map, 12 minutes, and we're done with this macro review. So I'll quickly pause this out. I'm just going to quickly charge my phone because I kind of have to charge my phone. Sorry about that, guys. All right. Phone is charging. And now we're ready to get back into it. All right. All right. Let's see here. Compositions coming out. Shockwave coming out in this map. I like it. They want a stronger, I would assume they want a stronger Tracer player here. So they're putting Shockwave out. Again, this is the map that Shockwave can thrive on. Why? Because he is probably, in my eyes, one of the best Western hit scans. Even though we haven't seen him play a lot, because Carpe has been playing a lot of the hit scan, Shockwave is a person that will be an upcoming player. You have my word on that. So they have these two combined together. No other swaps are made. We're going to see a lot of probably this Ash variation of the comp played. So we see lots of double shield with this long range coming out here. Dynasty are deciding to go more for a double bubble approach, it looks like right now. They could switch this, obviously. And I would assume, based off of what they see here, they're going to switch from the double bubble more to a double shield orientated comp. Doesn't look like it. They're actually keeping the double bubble. I don't agree with this. Why don't I agree? They should take a lot of damage before they can close this distance. I think this composition will be very weak against what what Fusion is running here because of the amount of damage that they can just pump out at the long range here. If they're able to close the distance on the side of Soul and they're able to get high charge onto you, then it should work out in their favor. But again, you have to deal with trying to displace this long range damage, especially with shields here as well. It shouldn't work out in your favor. They have a good orientation with Brawl as well because they have that break in there. So they are a double shield that does a lot of damage long range, but at the same time, they can brawl if they need to brawl. Dynasty are mainly just that dive kind of brawlish orientation because of the Zarya and break here, right? They have this Zarya carry in the mid fight, but they're going to mainly focus on Prophet and Marvel, allowing them to get space, right? A big thing with double bubble, utilizing these bubbles to take space and get charge for your Zarya. Primal and Nano will be how you take space aggressively here as your team. Rally can be used to take space as well, but it mainly will be this Nano and this, well, the Primal Rage, right? Because that is, you will build those really fast compared to a Rally. I assume Prophet on Echo is to enable this backline to be able to walk up more. If they try to dive, in this case there is no dive, so he will focus more so on just pressuring and less so on protecting these guys. Again, Prophet on Sombra, again, not a big fan of Prophet on Sombra, or sorry, Fitz on Sombra here. I don't know why I said Prophet. Fitz on Sombra is good. Again, I like his Sombra, but I feel like Tracer is, again, much more consistent with the pressure comparatively to Sombra. So I'm not a big fan of Fitz wanting to go Sombra here. I'd rather him go Tracer, like I said. In terms of the rest of Philadelphia, I think their comp works really well with each other. Carpe will control side lanes. He can do well because he has that break to support him, and the rest of them will be holding angles, right? Mono and potentially somebody else will hold an angle. And the rest will hold an opposite angle with Hoppa. And you see, Marvel jumps in again without a shield or anything. He just gets absolutely destroyed. That's a lot of damage that you're taking at a long range. And this is, again, why I'm saying this long range. They got to go from here to here. It's not going to get a lot of value. You got to go from here to here. You're not going to get a lot of value because you're going to take too much damage trying to close this distance. There's no real way you can close the distance relatively easily because look at these sight lines. These sight lines are so open, so long, right? If it was a closer map that had more terrain to utilize, I would say go for it, but it's not, sadly. So expect for Marvel to have a really hard time here, especially as well as Prophet. Prophet should have a hard time as well. So let's see what ends up happening here. So Marvel jumps up. He takes space on the top right here. We see that Carpe is going to contest point. I think that's fine. Fitz is looking to potentially set up behind or set up here to hack And the rest are going to provide a firing range up top here about anyone that comes in this direction. So, what do I expect from Soul in this fight? I expect for Soul to potentially go for a dive here. Fitz will set up here, and the rest of them will try to push the cart and force Carpe away and push the cart slowly. Do I think this is going to work? No. I really don't. Getting the hack on Carpe will be much more reliable, but Carpe shouldn't be able to get hacked here. Jump. Fitz is not in position here. They do get a bit of cart push, but Marvel is just getting 100% punished. Carpe's sticking on top of Marvel incredibly well. The rest of them are just making it really hard to get out because of just the natural damage they got. And now they've pushed the cart, they are able to get a lot of space here and take a route that allows them to potentially close the distance and force a brawl. But this should still be hard. As long as they keep track of where Fitz is and Marvel is, they should be in a fine position. And actually, you see that they're going to take the brawl to them. They have a bob, so they're going to bob at this choke here. And that will delay these guys. They should be able to get Marvel down to low HP. The one thing that's the saving grace is this nano. If they can land this nano onto Marvel, Marvel will be able to create a lot of distraction on this backline and then be able to get his primal up. Once he gets below that half HP mark, if he has the nano, he can look to primal, pop up, get more HP, and delay longer for his backline to get the value, right? Only thing I check is 2U's charge. What is 2U's charge right now? 20? It will take a little bit of time for him to get into revving up. Sticky comes out, doesn't land onto anyone. 2U is high charge. Prophet snuck away from me. He's able to go very aggressively on the side here. He's able to, again, get some sort of damage and pressure onto Alarm here because of all the damage focused onto Marvel while Marvel's in their face. As that is happening here, right, we see that he is able to get the nano and he can continue on forward. He's going to keep denying, creating a lot of pressure onto these guys. Prophet is in a good, or sorry, Fitz is in a good position behind. Prophet potentially can follow up here or go on to Shockwave over here. 2U is very low though, so he has to be incredibly careful here or he's going to go down. 2U stays alive. Prophet is able to get 2. And hey, Dynasty are able to make it work out. No one dies as this cart pushes up. They're able to close the distance. They did have to use quite a few ults though, right? But they're able to clean it up. They're able to get past this first spot, right? So now this is the hard part out of the way for Soul most of the time. Now all they have to do is they have to play aggressive on this kind of chokeway and maybe this chokeway. And they need to look to punish really hard with this high energy Zarya. Marvel still needs to create a lot of distraction. They do have the EMP if they try to come out in a way, and that can allow the Zarya to take control of these fights because she's high charge. Double check Zarya charge here, 77. It should be around 100 when he bubbles Marvel to go in. Again, you see them bait. Key thing I want to say, they're baiting in these guys to come in aggressively here. So they're baiting them in, then they're going to go in for their aggression here. And they might not rip the EMP right away, but the whole point is they're going to make it hard for them to come out of this choke, and they're going to build more charge onto 2U, and it's going to make it hard for them to come out. Shock. Fusion does a little bit of a adjustment here. Carpe goes on the Reaper. Again, this is to pressure out the Monkey. Do I like that again? Again, it goes back to EQO. I think it's a safer pick to do. If you look at the comp, it's a little bit less of a spam, and it's more of a brawl with a little bit of spam in it, right? Because of the break there. So I like the Reaper a little bit more compared to Hanzo, just because it continuously adds to the brawl compared to Hanzo, which is, again, more of a spam character. So it's a good choice against this. They can capitalize on Monkey if he doesn't have Primal or Nano. So you see, ooh, okay. Prophet goes down there. Good balls tosses from Hoppa. Overall, you still see it really hard for them to try to walk out, right? Shockwave instantly goes down there because the rest of the team can't push out because of the aggression from Marvel and 2U right on this high charge. Big nade from Creative landing onto Hoppa and Carpe. Now I expect for Marvel to re-aggress here. He has to re-aggress. Fizz is going to have to be ready to come in with the EMP soon too to protect 2U. If 2U goes down, this is going to be really bad. EMP goes down. It's exactly what you want it to hit on. Even though rally comes out, counter rally from Soul, and they're able to keep up this aggression. Do I think they needed those ults? Profit kind of went down in an unlucky way, it looks like. Let's look at Profit POV and double check, though. Oh, that was a suck into just a left click. He just got a little too close there. He was doing the right thing of harassing and spamming there, but that was a good pull or a good halt there from Mano. Mono did a great job. So again, the big thing with double bubble composition is yes, you want to hold this choke hard, but part of the thing, if you have these kind of key alts, that copy, grab, EMP, stuff like that, you want to bait them in. Because the whole point of this is as they go in and try to go for your backline, who's a huge threat on a high charge, your your Sombra, your Echo, right? Those guys will get the value. Your Monkey, they will get the value on the other angles or as they go deep, right? So you're kind of forcing them in into into security that they can get value or they have to get some sort of value. And then you just capitalize on the fact that they can't finish out the kills and you have high damage to finish out these kills. So Soul making the first point look relatively easy, aside from the first fight, obviously, right? That was the hardest part. This is again a hard part. If you can't snowball second, it's very hard to get value with double bubble gear. And the big reason why is because your backline will be unable to really follow up on a lot of the damage, right? They're going to be stuck on cart in this main area, right? So that's why it's so hard to try to get the value with these kind of three characters. I think the best way to kind of do it that I learned from experience is you want to set these guys up in this vicinity here, and you want to have your flanker push the cart while the monkey and the echo try to set up to either go here or go in this vicinity, right? We'll see how they look to set up here and how they look to play. We see that Carpe switches back to this Tracer. Again, I thought his Tracer was doing well at the start of first. He went more so for that Reaper because of the flatness of the rest of first point and the fact that they would go more for a brawl. I think Tracer is relatively good here. There's a lot of open space. You need to be very mobile to kind of either contest card or keep track of this Monkey and Echo. If you play the Reaper, you give up too much space, I find. So this is a good swap back onto the Tracer, I think, from Carpe. Fitz is setting up in a good angle behind them. Backline is trying to set up a top of church, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do it. So they're going to go across the balcony here instead. I would expect that we're going to see Marvel to jump in with Nano and a grab come out here. So it's going to be crucial to see if Hoppa can eat this. While this is happening, though, somebody's going to have to push cart. So I don't know who's going to push cart during this. Oh my god, Shockwave hits just some nasty shots. Carpe scouts out the back line on top of that balcony. They look like they're still going to commit to the play. They still commit. He's nanoed. Morello is getting CC'd to crap. And he's forced out with his primal. They're able to kill Shockwave from this, but trades are in favor of Fusion right now. The Bongo came out as well. And that starts with great shots from Shockwave. What were those shots? I gotta look at that shot. Those look... That felt nasty, to be honest with you. Just looking at the overhead, that felt nasty. That had to have been 2 headshots at least from him. It wasn't. It was just like shot after shot after shot. That's kind of crazy. Like that, to me, that's kind of crazy that he hit so many consistent shots without being scoped in. Like that's pretty damn fucking good. So now, remember how I talked about if Seoul would have an easy time if they could snowball this? Now it's going to be a hard time because their backline is very weak in this high ground centric part. This part is so hard for them to break. Even these two are hard for them to break in the second half if they don't have control. They have 2 minutes still to try to make this work, but they're going to have to now play under Church and push the cart from under Church. They have to try to play to the strength of their composition here. So we see 2U is underneath. Creative is by the art room over here, right? Again, these positionings look pretty good from them. Profit is a little bit scared to try to pressure over here or pressure over here because of what happened previously. But again, overall, it looks pretty good. Fitz is playing in a position, I believe, underneath to try to get some sort of damage when they drop. Now somebody got to re-push the cart here. Grab comes out. Dive goes out as well. Pulse bomb misses from Carpe, it looks like. It's a good grab onto Alarm. It's all about can they finish it off. Shockwave kills Prophet again. Alarm survives long enough with the lamp. And then, boom, they're able to get 2 quick kills because of that. If I'm Prophet, I want to swap off this character. Like, this character is doing nothing for me right now. Like, I'm not getting any value. But I have ult, so I have to commit. I would assume 2U wants to switch off this character too. Yeah, he goes to the D.Va. Again, Zarya is really hard. If you don't snowball, it's super hard. He's not able to snowball, so he switches off. Prophet doesn't want to switch off because he has ult. But the longer he stays on this character, the worse it's going to be for him. Again, Cart is just under Church here. So let's see what ends up happening here. Soul, again, they have the EMP. They have something to utilize here. But you see that Fusion is postured to go aggressively here as they rotate. Right? And they're going to probably try to force a fight as they rotate aggressively here. Backline is being a little bit cautious. They don't want to get hit by an EMP if they try to go for a quick dive with an EMP copy here. And again, like look how much they're forcing. Prophet goes down again to a pull this time. And instead of playing a range, like here, I understand why it's really scary to play a range, but he's not even able to use his ult. Like, they haven't been able to do anything. Fusion still continue to go aggressive with their flux here. Even though they're able to hit a huge EMP, no one can follow up because so many members are down on the side of Soul. And now, you've been on this character for so long, Prophet. You need to get off. Like, you're just dying first because Echo has no cover. And this is why I don't like Echo on this map, because the only real cover you have is here. Aside from that, you don't really have good cover. It's very open. And that's probably what he's thinking. He's like, I can't do anything because it's open here, it's open here, it's open here. Right? It's open over here. Where am I supposed to play? Where am I supposed to hide when I want to poke? And that's why he's going for this fully aggressive style of play on Echo, because that's the only thing he can do. If he stays in the open and just pokes in the open, he's going to die anyways from Shockwave. Right? Or Alarm, at that matter. So now it's OT. Now they got to do something. Copy finally goes out. He gets it on the break, which is not the best copy he could have possibly gotten. He instantly goes down, and this comes down to a point where, I'm going to be honest with you, the start looked really good after they got the cart to where they needed to with the double bubble, but they weren't able to snowball it properly because of the backline unable to get onto this high ground here. Since the backline from Soul wasn't able to get the high ground during the snowball, Prophet got snuffed out, Prophet died, and that push got taken down. From there, Prophet got picked multiple times first, and it was all because fast dive there, getting picked on rotation as they're forward, getting pretty much forced to copy then. Again, like, it just didn't work out. And again, it comes down to how the map is kind of made on this second point. Not a lot of rooftops, not a lot of places you can kind of play. So now you see him going back onto this Echo here. We see the Echo Ash coming out here on the defense versus Dynasty with double shield. I do like this. Again, this is reminiscent to what they were close to running pretty much on New Bonnie. The only difference here was these picks. This is not an Ana anymore, right? And these were dive characters before. This was a Winston, right? This was a Sigma. It makes sense for these guys to be in instead of the dive, just because, again, long range map, lots of space, right? It's not really a dive map, I would say, anymore. It's good to hold with this kind of long range and hard burst damage, while at the same time just being able to hold your ground with those shields, right? We see a mirror potential composition coming out from Fusion here. TP? Where are they TPing? Interesting. So they're saying screw the cart. What? I need to see this from where the TP landed. Because they got a kill onto, I think, Creative here. Oh shit, Creative didn't know where the TP was. Creative assumed the TP was going up here or something. He ends up going down. Misses his jump and everything. He just goes down. Oh, if he just stayed up here, he would have been fine, actually. That's so unfortunate. And now all all Fusion needs to do is just clear the rest of the high ground. And that's exactly what they're doing. Dude, that's so smart. This reminds me of the Gladiator play actually a lot. So now they're finally going back to the cart and pushing it. So I'll tell you why this reminds me of the Gladiator play. And the reason it reminds me of Gladiator play is I think about King's Row. So remember on King's Row when players are playing these kind of compositions, the one thing I tell my team when they're playing a brawlish kind of style of comp, I tell them, okay, well, what you want to do is you want to clear all this high ground and force them to be on the ground against your brawl, because then you're on an even playing field and they don't have this advantage anymore. So you should be able to win based off of you being brawl and them not being brawl, but also them having no more space control aside from the space that you both evenly control. This is kind of similar to that in the Glad play, and the reason I say the Glad play is because Glad play was all about, well, you force them around and then boom, like they're in vicinity to wherever the person is in spawn, right? Obviously, instead of it being the Gladiator play where someone's in spawn and they pop off and they get easy kills, it's more similar to a combination of the Gladiator and the King's Row theory that I kind of talked to you about. Because what they do is they TP, they go around here because what their thought process is, well, they're going to hold here and here to start. So what will end up happening is we TP here fast, we TP, I go around this way, right? They're not going to be set up in time to stop us from pushing off this high ground. We're going to push off these high grounds, and we're either going to force them to drop towards the point, or we're going to force them to fight us. Either way, it's advantageous for us because we have stopped them from having this high ground control here. Now they don't have that high ground control. Now they're in even or a disadvantage, right? Because as this is happening, right, they try to hold cart. You have this high ground. You have this high ground. As you start to try to move the cart, right, they have to meet your angles here. And they have no way to clear those, right? That's so fucking smart, dude. And Carpe's probably Tracer, right? Carpe's not another character. Yeah? Goes back to spawn, goes Tracer to push the cart, right? He goes Hanzo instead, and he goes to push the cart on Hanzo. This is still smart. So it is similar to Glad's play. It's similar to Glad's play, and it's similar to the King's Row. It's like both of them combined, because they're able to clear this high ground, force them into Carpe's LOS, and at the same time, they take away the high ground advantage that Soul have. That's so cool, man. Like, and the reason I'm like so excited about this is because most teams have never tried this before. Most teams haven't done something like this. That's why it excites me. And even though it's kind of scrappy, it's still working out. Like, look, no more high ground control. They get free kills, and they're able to push this relatively in their favor, right? They're able to get past this choke wave, which is the hard part for Nubani. Like, fucking sick as hell. Fitz now switches off to a Widow here because he feels like he'll get more value on the Widow against this. I don't really agree with that, but it is what it is. He's the player in the moment, not me. If he's able to somehow get picks, it will work out. So again, all of Philadelphia just decide to deny point. They're going to take control of this area so they can force these guys from the off angle away. And it forces these guys to be alone here. Marvel is completely isolated now. And what seems like a decent idea in hindsight does not look like it's going to work out in favor for Philadelphia this time around. They wanted to utilize the map to just take this, force the guys over here out, and then isolate these guys on the side here. Right? And it did work. It was somewhat successful. Marvel looked like he was going to die. But a great shot from Fitz shut that down. I believe he was able to kill Alarm right away. And then boom. Like it got them to be able to retake the space, be able to retake the map. And now Philadelphia have to try to retake this first point. Man, Fitz is playing these aggressive long angles, which is cool to see. Window comes out right away from creative. Fitz is backing away just because he's scared he's going to get hunted by Carpe. That's a smart read by him. Philadelphia's doing a good thing. They're hiding, waiting out this window, and then they're going to start peeking out again. They have a Flux and a Rally online relatively soon, potentially another window. This is where Soul has to make a play somewhere. So these two have to try to make a play on the off angle, while these guys try to hold or try to make a play as well, while they give room for Fitz to get some sort of value. I don't agree with Profit on Echo here, just to let you know. I feel like he should have swapped to Hanzo or something, but I guess it is what it is. It can still work, but I don't think it gets the max value. Flux connects onto Tuyu. They're able to keep him alive with the lamp. Bongo comes out as well. They use Rally to close more space alongside the start of the Flux. And now they're able to play very aggressively as tanks and Brig into the tank core here. Fitz is still in a good position to hit shots over on towards back of the spawn. The rest of these guys here are going to have to find some sort of way to be aggressive onto this Hanzo, Bap, Ash backline here. I have a feeling that what's going to end up happening is this group isn't going to die. It's going to be this group that goes down somehow. I don't know why. Fitz ends up dying actually from a good shot from Carpe. And these guys are in a really awkward position. Tanks force them to go back into the LOS of the window. And as they're taking punishment from this side, they're taking punishment from the window. And they're getting forced in this area, which is terrible for them. So great way to utilize this. Fitz isn't able to be the difference maker on that Widow and get a good pick like last time. And again, this just shows you when you gave up so much space, right? You allowed for Philadelphia to just take control of the game again. And now I expect Profit to potentially switch off. Philadelphia have good ults coming into this next fight though. They have a Bongo, they have both DPS ults, they have a Bob, they have a Dragon. They can use that to clear this high ground area relatively easily. Fitz uses his ult, his sights to see if he can see where they are. He's going to go for aggressive angle here to try to see if he gets some picks behind. As the rest of his team are going to look to drop and try to keep them in this area for a longer period of time. I don't think they should have dropped. Did they drop or did they get halted off? I did not see. Let's see, does Mono have halts? Mono does not have halt. I have a feeling they might have actually gotten halted off instead. Let's back up a little bit here and see. Did they get halted off or did they get... Not do you dropped, Marvel dropped. I don't really agree with this idea. Especially since you don't have Rally yet and you don't have this Flux. Like, just stay. Look where the point is, boys. You don't have to do shit. Like, let Fitz work his magic on the side as they go around this corner and just utilize this high ground to your advantage. Wait for them to use an ult to force you off, guys. What are you doing? What is this? Okay, well, tanks are probably going to die here. Rally comes out. Dragon comes out. Fitz is still able to hit the shot onto Shockwave as pressure is all getting hit here, right? So good shot. But again, look at your HP bars and look where the Dragon is. You're forcing split people to happen. Rally is nowhere close to anyone here as well. Like, Animo has to tank that Dragon. He ends up going down because now Marvel's down. Now he's down. Marvel went to the point because he had to stop the point. And a good Flux hit from Tuyu, but your Rally is now down. Your main tank is now down. Fitz was able to hit a good shot. He won't be able to hit another good shot here because they're all around the corner by now. He did what he had to do. The rest of them just aren't getting the value. Now it's up to Profit and Creative to make a play happen because Fitz also just went down to fucking Carpe. Oh, Soul, you had that, man. You had the stabilization. Oh, you had it. Okay, I need to look at this Rally. So why does Animo go into church? He sees the Dragon and he went to go bash Astro while he was hearing the Dragon. And he didn't want to go into the Bob, Astro, and the Dragon. Since everyone else was able to escape towards this side, he was the only one that wasn't able to, and it just cost the team that. Do I think he cost them the fight? In this instance, right now, yes. But I don't think he's the reason that Soul lost that fight. The reason Soul lost that fight is because of this. Why are you dropping? Like, they see where they all are as well, right? So my thing is, like, why? Why, man? Like, you had... They have to make the move here. Like, you go... I give up. I can't. Forces the rest of the team to drop. Your tanks are low. Forces your lamp early. Forces the rally in a time when you don't want to rally. Forces alt to happen in an area where you're holding and now it splits you up. Like, it's not what you want to do, guys. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's serious. We looked at a little bit of key points that kind of happened. We prayed that EQO wouldn't be on Sombra anymore. We talked about some cool comps and how they're run and what the win conditions are. And overall, that's just a series for Philadelphia versus Dynasty. I feel like Dynasty had a great idea on Nubani of how to approach things, but it didn't end up working out in their favor because of fantastic snowball from Philadelphia. Philadelphia were able to prove multiple great concepts here on Busan, Nubani, even Dorado, I would say. Some cool little tech here that we saw on Dorado, which I think was very innovative, that other teams have never done or I've never seen before in my years of Overwatch. So great from them. Dynasty, quite disappointed to be honest with you with how things went. Hanamura looked quite good. Again, like Nubani looked good, except for like defense. And then Dorado, they just seemed to fall apart on Dorado. Just playing a composition that they tried to snowball with, but didn't prove its dividends. They weren't able to switch off the composition because of the ults they had, and didn't work out.